All right, all right. Happy Monday. Do me a favor, for those of you on Facebook, make sure you share this out, get people in. Today we're going to be talking about how to implement family money meetings. So you don't want anybody to miss it. So make sure you go ahead and share it out, invite some people in so that they can get this information too. Hey, Instagram. All right, so let me um, show myself. All right. Wow. Really close. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, everybody. Hopefully, you had a good weekend. I know it was a little sad yesterday with the people's lives who were lost yesterday in the helicopter crash in California. So it was a pretty somber day yesterday. Other than that, I hope you had a good weekend. So today, we're going to get started with talking about how to implement a family money meeting. I'm going to go ahead and, as I always do, um, I hope that things aren't messing up. It looked like Facebook may be having a little bit of trouble, but we'll see. Anyway, so first of all, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Carmen, and I'm a personal finance expert and strategist with Money Choices Today. And I help families create a plan for their money so that they can break the paycheck to paycheck cycle, eliminate debt, and increase their savings and investing. Excuse me for that. And besides helping families and individuals create a plan for their money so that they can live the life they want, I have a website, moneychoicestoday.com. And on my website, I have different things like blog posts where I talk about different things. I talk about credit, student loan debt, all kinds of things. I have a lot of articles out there. So when you get a chance, head on over to moneychoicestoday.com and take a look. So today's live stream will wrap up the whole month where we've been talking about creating a money plan for 2020 for your family. The first week of January, we talked about how to create your annual 2020 money plan. And if you haven't seen that video, make sure for those of you on Instagram, you head on over to my Facebook page and take a look because that is still posted. It was some good information on how to get started. I actually offered a template, a free template on annual money plans and how you can get started for your family. Then the next week, I think we talked about how to keep your family finances on track. So once you create your annual money plan, then you want to make sure you stay on track because just creating it and not really being active with it is not going to help you achieve your goals. And then last week, we talked about how to implement good financial habits for your family. So we talked about various things there. And again, if you haven't seen any of these live streams on my Facebook page, they're all still posted. So you still have time to take a look and get that good information. All right. So we will get started with today's live stream, how to implement family money meetings. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to decide on a specific day and time. This is something that you just don't want to wing it. You don't want to say, oh, yeah, sometimes this month we'll get the family together. We'll kind of review how things have been going with our money. That's not something that you want to do. You want to select a day and time where everyone is available and it's convenient for everyone. You don't want to select Monday and it's not convenient for your significant other. And you don't want to select Saturday or whatever it may be, and you have a lot of activities and things running around. You want to select a day and time where everyone is available and everyone will be able to focus in. The next thing you're going to want to decide on is, are you going to meet weekly or monthly? So let's talk about that. If you meet monthly, then you may not have time to adjust some of the things that you're noticing with your spending. Whereas if you meet weekly, you would have time to make adjustments. So, for instance, if you notice that you're starting to go over your budget for eating out, if you wait till the end of the month, then you will have overspent if you don't use the cash envelope method, if you're using your debit card or something else like that. Whereas if you meet weekly, you can look and say, hey, we spent 50% of our eating out budget already, and we still have 3 weeks left. We're going to have to cut back or make some type of adjustment. So you're going to want to decide if meetings will be weekly or monthly, and it should probably be a group decision. And then you're going to want to decide on a specific location, maybe the dining room table or something like that, where there aren't any distractions, where everybody will be able to focus in and something that's convenient. Or there are other options, like you can go to a library and rent a conference room or something like that. When I say rent, they don't have a fee for it. You can just reserve a conference room or something like that, where you guys can all be focused in and really concentrate on what you are going to talk about in your meetings. So the first step you need to do is you need to decide on a specific day, time, and location, and make sure it's convenient for everyone. And again, this is a family money meeting, so if you have children, they should be available as well. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create a standard agenda. And so it may change from time to time, but you want to have something to start out, a starting point, a basis. You're going to want to decide on which topics are you going to be covering every time you meet. Now, again, you may not review the same topics every time, but at least if you have a starting point and say, hey, this month we're going to talk about how we're doing with our budget, how we're doing with this particular goal. It may be one specific goal you're focusing on. It may be talking about your grocery budget or things like that. So you want to put together an agenda so you can know what you're going to talk about ahead of time. That helps alleviate a lot of stress too. Because if you just schedule a meeting and you know you're supposed to meet, but you really don't know what you want to talk about, that's going to be kind of it will be unorganized, and it's going to waste a lot of time, and you may not get through everything you want to, and you may catch one of the family members off guard, which can lead to a not so great conversation. So after you decide which topics are going to be covered on your regular agenda, then you're going to want to decide, well, what steps do we take if we want to change the agenda? Maybe we want to add something extra this time because maybe we have an opportunity to take a trip, or we have an opportunity to pay down some additional debt. How can we talk about that and decide on what steps we're going to take? So you want to decide that ahead of time. You don't want to wait till you start these money meetings and then say, oh, wait a minute, I need to add this. And you just add it. And again, excuse me, that can throw everybody off. So you definitely don't want to do that. Then once you get your agenda together, you're going to want to post it so everybody can see. So say you decided to have your family money meeting every Saturday morning. You post it so everybody can see all week so that they can be prepared and know what they're going to talk about. And it just helps, again, to alleviate some of the stress that comes with talking about money. So again, create a standard agenda. The next thing you're going to want to do is, and this may sound like, what are you talking about, Carmen? You are going to want to assign each family member a role. And you notice I have each. That means children as well. You're going to want to assign each family member a role. Now, here are some of the roles to consider. You're going to want to consider who's going to keep track of time, because your family money meeting should definitely be, again, I said pick a specific day and time. You're going to want to say it's going to be from 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. or however long you decide, but you want to make sure you pick a specific time. And I would probably not schedule long meetings, because that can draw it out and get people not keep people as focused as they should be. So when you're starting out, probably schedule maybe 30 minutes or a shorter time so that you can make sure you keep yourself on track. All right, so going back to the roles that you need to consider, who's going to keep track of time? That's a good job for one of the kids. Give them a timer, not their phone, because they may get distracted with something like that, but an actual physical timer where they can turn it on, or something like that, or a stopwatch or something like that, so that they can see and say, hey, we only have about 5 minutes left, or we've been going for 5 minutes, whatever it may be. Another role you're going to want to consider is who's going to lead the meeting. Who's going to be in charge of bringing up the topics and starting the conversation and keeping everybody on track. And the leader role must also make sure that tensions don't get high. So if you can see things are kind of getting out of hand, the leader's job will be to kind of bring everybody back together, have everybody kind of take a deep breath, or say, you know what, we're going to table it for the next meeting. So that's what the leader role is about. Then you're going to want to make sure you take notes. You don't want to talk about all this stuff and then not write down what you talked about, because there may be some homework assignments. It may be that you have to research, maybe, again, I keep going to a family trip, research a trip, or research some ways that you can cut your budget in other areas or things like that. So you're going to want to have somebody that's going to take notes. And then also, who's going to prepare materials for the meeting? Are you going to pass out a piece of paper that shows kind of what you're going to talk about? Are you going to have maybe a quick slideshow or something like that? So you're going to need to have somebody to do that. Now, once you kind of consider those roles and who would be best in those roles, you have to think about, should we rotate these roles so that the burden is not on one person to always lead the meeting, the one person to always take the notes, or one person to always prepare the materials. Now, as far as the children are concerned, their role may be the same. It may be that they have to keep track of time until they become old enough, maybe teenagers or so, where they can maybe start practicing leading meetings, because then it helps them to focus in and understand how important it is to talk about money. And again, and with these roles, you may have to take on a couple of different roles depending on how many family members you have. And that's okay. But again, sharing in those roles and maybe trading off is something that you want to consider. And so then the last thing you want to do when it comes to implementing family money meetings is you want to end the meeting with a on a high note. And so I think with a family activity, like maybe watching a movie together or a favorite TV show or playing a game or maybe just enjoying a favorite snack. But you want to make sure that it's not something that the family dreads. You want to make sure that, hey, this is what we have to do. We can have a conversation about it, and then we can enjoy some time together after. Like, even if you decide to play a game, this is checkers on here that I'm showing, but maybe you want to play Monopoly or something like that with money so that you can kind of continue showing the children about money and having conversations and teaching them and things like that. Or maybe you want to watch a movie about something with money or something related, or just talk about, money transactions in the movie or something like that. And so you want to end the meeting with a family activity that everybody can enjoy. And so those are the steps to implement family money meetings. Again, the first thing you want to do is decide on a specific day, time, and location. Then you're going to want to create an agenda. Then you're going to want to assign roles, even for the children. And then you're going to want to end the meeting with a family activity. Remember, the important part is to remain calm, have rules established ahead of time about how the meeting will operate. Do people have to kind of raise their hand to bring up something? Just kind of think about all those things prior to starting the meeting, because you don't want to have to decide once the meeting gets started. And again, maybe doing the meeting once a week, getting started, can help you to fine tune how you actually want to have the meeting. So I want to thank you for joining me this whole month as we talked about family and money and how to best manage and how to teach the children and things like that. Next week, we're going to start a new topic. I'm not sure what that topic is yet, but next week we'll have a new topic. And I want to remind you that over in my Facebook group, we have a 12-month money challenge going on. So Back a couple of weeks ago, we kicked off January. The January challenge was organize your financial life. It's all about getting everything in order so that you can manage your money and be in control. Coming up next week, I think we're going to do it next week for February. It's called Clean Up Your Money Habits. So you don't want to miss it. As you can see here, we have a lot of stuff planned for the 12-month money challenge. So all you have to do to join and participate is head on over to my Facebook group, Money Choices Today Money Masters, and it's totally free. It's a lot of great information. And again, the January challenge video is already up, so you can catch up before next week before we get started with February. I want to thank you for joining me and tuning in. And make sure you have a great rest of your evening and meet me back here at the same time, 8:15 p.m. Central Time on Monday. Have a great rest of your evening. Bye.